Since the dawn of time, philosophers and storytellers alike have all pondered the same question. Is an anthropomorphic sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea smarter than the guy who both fixed and ruined Star Wars?
This is perhaps the greatest day of my young life, Mr. Krabs.
There's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. And there are projects that I've worked on where we had some ideas, but we hadn't worked through them enough. We had sometimes we had some ideas, but then we weren't allowed to do them the way we wanted to. But having a plan, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing. You want to be leading to something inevitable.
If you've seen the title to this video, which I'm guessing you have given that you are watching it, then you'll know that the answer to that question is an undeniable and resounding no. Of course not. SpongeBob's a cartoon character. He can't be smarter than a real person.
We don't even exist. We're just a clever visual metaphor used to personify the abstract concept of thought. One more crack like that and you're out of here. No, please! I have 3 kids!
No, of course the question I'm really asking is whether the writers of SpongeBob are smarter than J.J. Abrams, who is, of course, most famous for writing and directing Super 8. But in all seriousness, the influence Abrams has had on the last 20 years of pop culture can't be understated. He's actually most famous for being the guy who rebooted both Star Trek and Star Wars, but before that he was making some TV shows you've probably heard of like Lost, and shows your parents have heard of like Alias. He directed the 3rd Mission Impossible movie and produced the next 3 after that. He's the mastermind behind the Cloverfield franchise, and some of his most frequent collaborators have gone on to make stuff like the HBO Watchmen show, all the Paramount Plus Star Trek stuff, and of course the 3-hour-long Batman movie. The guy's had a lot of doors opened for him in Hollywood is my point.
Why, sir, I'm flattered.
Really? I don't smell anything.
Ah! You're on your way, kid.
But he's also known for coining the term mystery box, and if you don't know what that is, don't worry, we're about to get into it, but for now, all you need to know is that when it comes to the question of, is SpongeBob smarter than J.J. Abrams, then the answer, when it comes to the mystery box at least, is a resounding and emphatic yes, and inside of this box is the evidence I have to prove it. And that's enticing, isn't it? An element of mystery has now been introduced to this video, making it more engaging for you, the audience, and thereby making it more likely you'll stick around to find out what's inside. Well, that, my friends, is the secret to mystery box storytelling, as Abrams himself explains here in his TED Talk from 2007.
I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential, and I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. Now, it's not the most groundbreaking idea, but when I started to think that maybe there are times when mystery is more important than knowledge, I started getting interested in this.
And that's pretty much how it works. You present a mystery to catalyze the audience's imagination. Maybe it's a plane crash, maybe it's the fate and identity of your hero's parents, or maybe it's the MacGuffin your entire movie revolves around. And then once you've introduced those things, you of course go on to... Well... Does he actually say what you're supposed to do after that?
And I realized, oh my God, like mystery boxes are everywhere in what I do. And how
In the creation of Lost, David Love and I, who created the show, we were basically tasked with...
One eternity later.
So yeah, he never actually says what you're supposed to do with all those mysteries you brought up. Instead, he just goes on to list a bunch of disparate ideas that could count as mystery boxes if you accept his ever-expanding definition of the term, before spending the final 7 minutes of this 18-minute-long TED Talk discussing advancements in technology and the democratization of media, before finally ending his presentation, which I should remind you is titled The Mystery Box, like this.
So you don't need the greatest technology to do things that can work in movies, and the mystery box, in honor of my grandfather, stays closed. Thank you.
And if that isn't the most J.J. Abrams ending I've ever seen. So, yeah, here's a bunch of stuff that's not related to anything else I was talking about earlier, but here's why it's super poignant and matters, actually.
Ray Skywalker.
No! This is Patrick!
So, okay, if you're presenting a mystery to the audience to catalyze their imagination, but you are personally more interested in the mysteries themselves than you are in the knowledge that gives those mysteries meaning, then as far as I can tell, you've got one of two options. Either one, you can wait as long as possible to give the audience that knowledge, the answers they're hoping for, but you do eventually provide some kind of explanation, even if it sucks.
You are a Palpatine. No way.
Or 2, you never give them anything but a giant middle finger, even when your main character asks about it point blank on screen at the end of your movie.
Hey, one thing. Rabbit's foot. What is it?
Promise me you'll stay, I'll tell you.
Now, there are dangers to both of these approaches. If you go with option 1 and do provide answers eventually, but take way too long to do it, you risk losing members of the audience who don't have the patience to stick around for them. Or for the people who do stick it out, you risk them getting mad at you if the answers end up being not as satisfying as they expected, especially if they waited months or even years to get them. Lost was pretty much the poster child for this problem during its original run, and no element of the show captures that problem better than one of its first big mysteries, the hatch.
What is that? That's what we're gonna find out.
Discovered at the end of the 11th episode by these two knuckleheads, finding a way to open the hatch becomes a major storyline in the second half of season 1. There's even a scene where they build a trebuchet out of bamboo and plane shrapnel to try and break open the glass that doesn't work, and it eventually gets one of them killed. It's just Boone, it's fine. I mean, he's not fine, he's dead. I mean, you'll be fine for knowing he's dead. Now, Lost does eventually tell you what's inside the hatch, and it does it right at the start of season 2, and it's actually one of the coolest moments of the whole show because of how it plays with its own tropes and your expectations of it up to that point. The problem, though, is that Lost season 2 premiered on September 21st, 2005, while the episode The Hatch was introduced in aired on December 8th, 2004. That is more than 9 months of real-world time a Lost-obsessed teenager who's really proud of the mustache he's growing, had to wait for the answer to this one question. And unfortunately, things only got worse during season 2, as it suffered from a toxic combination of being both slower paced and inconsistently scheduled, doubly so once ABC started randomly airing reruns and clip shows when fans were expecting new episodes, but that's a video for another day. For now, the key takeaway from Lost is that if you're choosing to dole out the answers to your mysteries slowly, it's important you not drag it out for too long, because after a while, it can start to feel like you're just wasting everyone's time.
Almost there and done. Now let's see how it looks so far.
But at least Lost tried, right? Because even if it's frustrating, I'll still take some answers to none at all, especially if you're a filmmaker who chooses to do this while planning to only make one installment in an ongoing franchise, where it should be reasonable to expect that a completely different filmmaker with completely different ideas, values, and writing philosophies might come along behind you and answer all the questions you refuse to in whatever way suits them best, even if it's maybe not what you'd have done. I'm talking, of course, about Mission Impossible. Of the 6 films Abrams has directed to date, all but one of them has been either a sequel or a reboot, and in 3 of those cases, it was both. But it all started in the summer of 2006 with the release of Mission Impossible 3: Quest for the Foot of a Rabbit.
Where's the rabbit's foot?
What are you saying? That wasn't it? What I gave you?
I'm gonna count to 10. You're gonna tell me where the rabbit's foot is, or she dies.
Squidward.
What's the rabbit's foot, I can hear you asking through the screen, and that's a great question, but it's one that never gets answered, even when everyone's favorite Scientologist asks about it at the end of the movie. But while the rabbit's foot may be the most obvious and infuriating example of a mystery box in the movie, there's actually another one that works surprisingly well. But first, that's right, it's time to open our mystery box and find out what's inside, and it's... I'm just kidding. That'd be f***ed up though, right? If that's all that was this whole time. I've never asked anyone to like and subscribe on my channel before. I've just never felt comfortable doing it. But I feel like the only way I could do it is if I was doing a bit like this. And would that be okay with you if I asked you to like and subscribe to my channel while I'm actively flipping you off? Because that's basically what Abrams does in his movies.
Where'd you get that?
A good question. For another time. Take it!
But anyway, no, what's actually inside is a second smaller box with the word secret on it. There's nothing inside except a piece of string. I don't know what this could possibly be referencing. Oh well. So the mystery box in Mission Impossible 3 that actually works is also weirdly the movie's best moment, and it's a perfect example of how to use a mystery box well. So Ethan Hunt and his IMF team have this whole big plan to steal the rabbit's foot, which basically involves him breaking into a Shanghai skyscraper by jumping off a neighboring skyscraper, and yet the moment he actually goes inside, the movie cuts to the rest of the team who are just sitting around waiting.
Anything?
Negative.
How about you? Any good news?
No, nothing.
It's incredibly rare for a Mission Impossible movie, or hell, any action movie at all, to do something like this. After all, why would you cut away from your hero doing all their big hero stuff just to watch their sidekicks twiddle their thumbs? But I think that's exactly what makes this such a cool, interesting, and unexpected decision, and it allows these two characters, who are ultimately forgotten in the grand scheme of the series, to have this little moment of connection. And then, without ever once cutting to Ethan inside the building, this happens.
I've got the rabbit's foot, but I can't make it to the roof.
What the hell do you mean you can't make it to the roof? Where are you?
Look up, look up, look up!
This moment just f***ing rules, and it rules specifically because the movie chose to not show us a set piece when it easily could have, and now there's an opportunity for us, the audience, to form our own ideas about how Ethan actually obtained the rabbit's foot. Now, earlier I alluded to the idea that Abrams in his TED Talk didn't provide a single clear definition for what a mystery box is, so much as he word vomited several and left it at that. So a mystery box is infinite possibility, but it's also a blank page, and it's also a MacBook, and what are stories but mystery boxes? There's a fundamental question in TV. The first act is called the teaser. It's literally the teaser. It's the big question. So you're drawn into it, and then, of course, there's another question, and it goes on and on and on, and look like Star Wars. You got the droids, they meet the mysterious woman. Who's that? We don't know. Mystery box, you know? And then you meet Luke Skywalker, he gets the droid, you see the holographic image, you learn, oh, it's a message, you know, she wants to, find Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's her only hope, but who the hell's Obi-Wan Kenobi? Mystery box. So then you go, he meets Ben Kenobi, though is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Holy shit, you know? So it keeps... Have you guys not seen that? It's huge! Whoa, sorry, I blacked out for a second. It almost felt like I was a part of a J.J. Abrams movie where so much was happening, but none of it meant anything, and yet, even after all of that nonsensical chaos, he goes on to say this.
Then there's a thing of like mystery in terms of imagination, the withholding of information, doing that intentionally is much more engaging, whether it's like the shark in Jaws. If Spielberg's mechanical shark Bruce had worked, it would not have been remotely as scary. You would have seen it too much. In Alien, they never really showed the alien, terrifying. Even in a movie like a romantic comedy, The Graduate, they're having that date, remember, and they're in the car, and it's loud, and so they put the top up, and they're in there. You don't hear anything they're saying. You can't hear a word, but it's the most romantic date ever, and you love it because you don't hear it.
This, to me, is the actual definition of a mystery box, and not showing us how Ethan got a hold of the rabbit's foot is a great example of it. Because if you, as a filmmaker, plan on never giving us, the audience, specific information, it should be information that is not crucial to our understanding or enjoyment of what we are watching. So characters, plot, MacGuffins, that should all be off limits. Instead, use it for things like your monster in a horror movie, because of course the human imagination will fill in the gaps. Or use it to give your love interest a moment of intimacy that not even we get to be a part of. Or yes, even use it to cut out a big set piece. And even SpongeBob does this kind of thing all the time. Whether it's him telling off his boss, or Squidward getting mauled by a sea bear.
Here, draw a circle.
Okay!
That was an oval! It has to be a circle!
Or whatever goes on inside SpongeBob and Patrick's magic imagination box. Huh. SpongeBob, Patrick, box. That all feels like it should ring a bell. But it doesn't. Anyway, the Mission Impossible movies after the third one couldn't wait to get away from the mystery box. And if you don't believe me, just look at how they handled the MacGuffin of the following movie, Ghost Protocol, when Ethan asks about it 17 minutes in.
Who's in the file?
Russian nuclear launch codes.
Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, that moment sure feels an awful lot like an intentional and direct response to this moment.
Rabbit's foot. What is it?
Then you'd be right, because when Christopher McQuarrie was brought in to do uncredited rewrites on Ghost Protocol, the Russian nuclear launch codes were being handled a bit differently.
When I read the script, the big things were you didn't know what was in the suitcase. You didn't know what was in the envelope. You didn't know what the villain was doing. This was all a mystery in the movie.
And then, after detailing some changes he made to another important plot line in the movie, he says this.
Respectfully, I'm not a mystery box guy. I don't believe in that kind of storytelling. I understand that it makes for very compelling narrative drive, but it brings you to the end of the movie and it inspires the three great words of cinema, which are, and, so, okay. And if you hear any one of those three things, it's time to go back to the drawing board.
And then McQuarrie went on to make the next 4 Mission movies, and in the very last one, he walks right up to JJ's precious mystery box and rips it to shreds.
Everything you are, everything you've done.
See that? That shot right there? That shot of Ethan grabbing the rabbit's foot, even though we just talked at length about how Abrams specifically chose to not show us this moment? Yeah, it's because that shot was made for Final Reckoning. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know it's because the rabbit's foot from Mission Impossible 3 is inexplicably treated as a crucial plot point in Mission Impossible 8. And all I have to say about that is, why? Like, yes, it's annoying Abrams never told us what it was, but it's not like I was just dying to have it resolved 20 years and 5 movies later, because this feels less to me like the culmination of 30 years of intentional and carefully crafted storytelling, and more like a desperate attempt to shoehorn in a bunch of navel-gazing, backwards-looking nostalgia into a series whose most recurring and possibly most enduring image is of Tom Cruise running full steam ahead, forward, in front of him. Or I don't know, maybe McQuarrie just wanted to put some dirt in JJ's eyes since he wasn't a producer on the movies anymore. Who's to say? But at least he's not Rian Johnson, right? Well, I've actually got some thoughts about that, and buckle up, because it's gonna be...
What's this?
Can you spot him, Mr. Squidward?
Down there, sir!
There appears to be a Krabby Patty napping in progress. There can be only one culprit.
Huh. That's weird. I forgot what I was talking about, and now all I can think about is... SpongeBob! That's what this was a reference to the whole time! The secret box! Of course, the episode of SpongeBob that accidentally yet hilariously refutes the whole concept of the mystery box. How silly of me. You'd think I would have remembered since I wrote the script, but once I created my mystery box, I stopped caring about what was inside and forgot all about it. Whoops! So the premise of the secret box is about as simple as you can get.
You never told me about your secret box.
Hey, hands off, Peepin' Bob. This here's my secret box. Besides, if I showed you what was inside, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. Duh!
What's so interesting about this episode, and you might have already picked up on this, is that if you watch it with J.J. Abrams and the mystery box in mind, it feels almost like a direct, intentional parody of the concept, down to Patrick being an outright caricature of Abrams himself.
Now will you show me what's inside your secret box?
No, SpongeBob. It's for me to know and for you to never find out. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The parallels only become more uncanny.
If only you could see inside my secret box, it would change your life.
That lightsaber was Luke's and his father's before him, and now it calls to you.
Inside this very box is the most secrety secret in all of secretdom, and I am its sole witness. It's a heavy burden, SpongeBob, but nobody must know the mystery of the box.
Rabbit's foot. What is it?
Nobody parody!
But even beyond parody, the secret box also strangely works as a legitimate, nuanced critique of the mystery box, especially in how the episode resolves. So SpongeBob keeps trying to look inside the box, and it's only when Patrick threatens their friendship that he finally backs off. But this, of course, doesn't stop SpongeBob from going through a list of all the infinite possibilities it could be later that night until he lands on the one that terrifies him the most.
Maybe it's an embarrassing snapshot of me from the Christmas party!
So SpongeBob breaks into Patrick's house in the middle of the night to steal the box, but of course his plan falls apart and Patrick wakes up. But even despite being upset, he does eventually, finally, let SpongeBob look inside.
Oh, this is one of the most exciting moments of my life. Well, here it goes. Huh?
And it turns out it was just a piece of string the whole time. It's obviously incredibly underwhelming and anticlimactic, but it also makes sense to SpongeBob, and more importantly to us, the audience, that Patrick would think something so stupid is worthy of being such a big secret. It's also a relief, because at least it wasn't the thing he was scared about most.
I should have known. It was just a piece of string all along. Wait till I tell Gary.
Until, of course, the episode cuts back to Patrick for its big reveal.
Good thing he didn't pull the secret string opening the secret compartment of my secret box, revealing one embarrassing snapshot of SpongeBob at the Christmas party!
And with that ending, the secret box episode of SpongeBob SquarePants cements itself as the definitive answer to J.J. Abrams' mystery box. They show us a box, they have us and the characters wonder what's inside, and by the end of the episode, they have revealed that it is in fact an embarrassing photo of SpongeBob, but they leave the contents of the photo itself a mystery, satisfying both the Abrams and the McQuarrie schools of thought within a matter of seconds.
I'm not a mystery box guy. I don't believe in that kind of storytelling. I believe that a mystery is only as good as its reveal.
I find myself drawn to infinite possibility. I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. That maybe there are times when mystery is more important than knowledge.
And I think this image right here, of Patrick Star looking at an embarrassing photo of his best friend that we'll never get to see, is what Abrams is actually after when he talks about the mystery box. He wants to tell a story that we, the audience, can participate in creating. I think that's what he was trying to say in his TED Talk, and yes, I think that's even why he spends the final 7 minutes of that 18-minute long discussion talking about advancements in technology and the democratization of media. Like, yes, it does feel weird and kind of out of place in a presentation that's presumably about this specific guy's creative process, but that ultimately is his creative process, isn't it? Abrams likes posing questions, and he doesn't seem all that interested, by his own admission, as to what the answers to those questions are. So when it comes to the question of his creative process, why wouldn't he end up talking about us instead? And that's the real tragedy of J.J. Abrams to me. His ideas about the mystery box seem to come from a genuine, heartfelt, and honestly kind of wholesome place. He wants to collaborate with us, the audience, in creating the stories he tells. The problem is that he sees everything as a mystery box. That's why he gives so many definitions of it in his TED Talk. But when you start turning even the most basic elements of your movie or TV show into a mystery, some of which you never intend to answer because you'd rather just leave it up to the audience, you take away something that is fundamental to telling a satisfying story: resolution. SpongeBob can get away with not showing us the photo because it at least told us that the photo exists. And it even has SpongeBob himself set the photo up earlier so that the payoff at the end could be that much more satisfying. And sure, they could have shown us what the photo was of, and it probably still would have been pretty funny. But the writers of SpongeBob knew that in this instance, it was better to withhold that information. And it's that kind of intentional storytelling that actually catalyzes the audience's imagination, not coming up with what the MacGuffin of the movie is. That's not my job, Jeffrey, it's yours. That's what they pay you all the money for. And that's why I hereby nominate the term secret box to forever take the place of mystery box when it comes to this particular style of mystery. The same style of mystery as the shark from Jaws, the alien from Alien, the date from The Graduate, the embarrassing Christmas photo from SpongeBob, and yes, even Ethan Hunt obtaining the rabbit's foot. Congratulations, JJ. You earned this. And this is ultimately what makes Abrams such a frustrating filmmaker. There are glimpses of greatness in nearly every one of his movies, but he just keeps getting in his own way by refusing to resolve anything in the name of collaborating with the audience, while we, the actual audience, often end up coming away just feeling cold and cheated. Because that's not what we watch movies and TV for, is it? We watch because we want to be told a story by professional storytellers whose job it is to introduce, complicate, and resolve the conflicts, characters, and yes, even mysteries of the stories they choose to tell us. And if they choose to present a mystery box to you, the audience, maybe it's a mystery box that had another slightly smaller secret box inside, and that secret box only had a piece of string inside of it, then they owe it to you to open that box in a timely fashion and pull the secret string, revealing the secret compartment of their secret box, and finally reveal the satisfying conclusion you've been waiting for. Like and subscribe!